Hi there. Yeah, I'm live and I can see your comments. So, hello. I see Altinu. I see Natalia. I hope that's your name properly. So, let me know if you can see me and everything is going okay. Like I said before, just in case before like I get introductions and everything, make sure that you guys are seeing me properly. If I'm not in mirror image, once I flip the camera, then maybe it gives you a better idea. But maybe you see me in the opposite way, just because sometimes the camera does that. But hi, Angel. She's behind out on you. So, hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Natalie D'Souza. In case you guys don't know who I am, I'm part of the design team. I'm part actually of the video design team, and I'm going to be your host for the next little bit. I'm going to show you a fun idea with some of the newest release. Not the yeah, well, it's the March release. So I'm just going to loosen my hair for a little bit because it's hurting. So I hope you guys are doing okay. Let us know where you're watching from. I know that for some of you, this might be like really late in the day or maybe really early in the morning, depending on what part of the world you're watching from. So let us know because we like to know. I'm coming from Toronto, Canada. It's 3:30 in the afternoon here, and the weather is changing. So, and I'm wearing a sweater right now, and I'm regretting it because I have the studio lights, and it's getting hot. So, but you know what? All good. So, like again, I'm reading the comments that Angel is living here, and she just said make sure like you share the feed because then there'll be a draw for a gift certificate to the shop, and you always there's a lot of good stuff coming in a week or so. And remember that I have to upload projects. The new release, the April release, it's beautiful. We're working here. Today we're gonna work with part of the March release. I have worked on something already similar, and I forgot to bring it. So while the camera flips, I'm gonna go get it because then you have an idea where's my starting point, and I'm gonna move it a little bit, further a little bit more. So I am going to flip the camera, and then you guys are gonna tell me if you guys can see it properly or not. If it's like mirror image or not. And while you do that, I'm gonna go get the other thing that I said that I have. That so I want to get the other album because, like I said, there's always an inspiration happening somewhere. So everything is good, perfect. So hello everyone. I know I haven't seen you last time I came live. The internet, not nothing to do with you or I. The internet went down, and I tried to use my phone as a hotspot, and it didn't work. So we had to cancel it halfway through, and I had a nice idea too. So today we're gonna hope and pray out of my hands. Everything is working for now. That the internet doesn't fall down or drop, and we can work. So I have two things. Well, things I was gonna work while I chatted with you guys, but we'll work it out here. So I have two of the main things for from the March release. I have the Craft Your Life flower project kit flower arch. You can see that I started my work already a little bit, and I just realized that I forgot to bring my sticky mat, so I'm gonna run to get that. The beauty of living in an apartment is 2 steps away. So I already stamped and die cut my images so they're ready and we don't take that much time. This is part of what we're going to use. We're gonna use pieces of this, but what we're gonna focus on is the all city doors layer and die set. Love the set. I think it's so practical, not just for cars, but a lot of different projects. Like I said, there's always some sort of inspiration. I don't know how you guys get your project started. We try when we get the samples to work on projects to give you different ideas on how and what you can create with the different products, how you can combine them. So when I got this a couple months ago, so I'm gonna put it to the side. I was like, I had an idea. Those remind me a lot of again, all cities back home. So don't look at stuff, okay? Let me just find it. So this is what I created for the cover of my November album. Well, it's divided in two for now. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna show you how I did it because I worked it outside of the camera and I had to play with like, some stuff. So I love the doors. I used this design and made it into a double door. And then I stretched the stencil to make it a little bit bigger. And then I use a flower arch. So we're gonna use the same idea for this project, but we're gonna take it a step further. It's not gonna be as big. It's actually gonna be a little bit smaller. Time is also of the essence. But I want to give you an idea that maybe will help you create a card or something else. And yes, you're gonna see. Um, I'm quite behind. I need to do a lot of catch up, which is a good thing, especially when you have like, quite a few projects to work with. So, like I said, this is the main focus, like a combination of the two. So that was kind of the inspiration for this project. When we booked the live for today, Lydia asked me, what do you want to do? And I was like, you know what? Two people asked me, how did I do the cover that I showed you? So I was like, let me do it on the live session, but I have to prep quite a bit ahead of time. So, see, I did already. I have my lines of journal, I have my journaling, I have my card, because we're gonna do a pocket page, and of course, I have my pictures. Again, this is the inspiration too. That's the door. That's why I put like, the door here for this one. These are my cat nephews. In case you have never seen them, these are my cat nephews. So I have my pieces here. And we're going to start actually with creating, let's go in parts. Let's start by creating the doors. Okay, so don't freak out. I have like, everything is already, I'm going to show you the cardstock that I used for this. And I went with something, if you look at the picture, because the picture is going to show, has a lot of black and gray. But I want to make it into a masculine kind of layout or spread, even though you're gonna be like there's flowers, nothing wrong with flowers and guys, but we're gonna go with tones that are more into the masculine palette. So we're gonna use greens and blues and yellows for this. So what I have here, what I created my doors with is Misty Morning and Iceberg. And what I did with this is I actually run double-sided adhesive paper behind it. So I'm going to make it into a peel and stick kind of situation. So here we're going to set this aside. And I have it here. So I have the pieces. We're going to build it together. But before I build that, I realized that I need to show you what I mean by making this a little bit different. So let's start by cutting my base. So I have here 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And I'm going to cut it in half. So it's going to be an 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, so I don't want it to be like, the entire page. I don't. I want it to be just a small insert. Like I said, time is of the essence here too. So I have my two little pieces here. I am going to actually punch the holes because then I know exactly where everything is going to sit. And I have like, if you work with albums the way I do, I tend to have templates. So have templates for all my albums here. I do it out of like heavy chipboard. So all I have to do is just set it in place. I'm thinking, I'm like, as I'm talking, I'm like, I forgot something. Of course, I forgot something. I forgot to bring out the pocket page, but it's like 2 steps away from me, so I can stretch and get it. So simply use the template, and I just pierce my holes. So in case you work with albums and you have different kind, I have different kinds. I just have them like all together here. So here we go. I have my bases, and the reason that I'm cutting too, remember, like I said, we're thinking about an interactive. So before I start building my door, which is kind of the main idea of here, I need to make sure that I have a front, and I need to cover some part of it too. So I'm gonna have the two pieces. So let me just get the pocket page. Like I said, that's the beauty. I have my pieces. So we'll look for it after. So what I want to do here is, remember how I show you my cover had the 2 doors? I'm going to use 1 door, but I want to make sure that it opens. I want to have that piece that it actually opens on my paper. So what I'm going to do is, if you look at the die, this is the all city door die. And I'm using this door here, the one with the windows, because they look the closest to what my sister looks like. So I actually kept the piece here that cuts the door. So I'm going to put my door, that's the one of them, not the two. So I want to put my door, I'm going to say around there, because I want to remember, I want to make sure that when it opens, it doesn't hit my, the edges here. So we're going to use like a ruler to semi-straighten this, because you guys know that nothing's super straight on life. And I do want it a little bit to the side. So remember, you have to make sure if you leave it right in the center, then if you have like an album and you're going to see it, it's not going to open the whole way. So I'm going to move it a little bit to the right in this case. There's a little bit off center, and the reason is I want to make sure that it opens. So I think around here, it looks about right. So I'm going to leave it the closest to the bottom. I am going to leave a little space, and I'm only going to cut. Remember how I cut my paper in half? I am only going to cut it out of one of them. So I have my big die cutting machine here on the side. So if everything starts shaking, it's because I'm going to move it to the table, and I want to make sure, like, I cut everything. I have my inks, everything in order here. So you're going to hear it because I have the big no binders, die cutting machine. So everything my shape right now. Like I said, I'm just going to put a little bit of paper tape that I have here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this part. And that's going to be just kind of the beginning part of, like, gives you an idea where everything is going to sit and where my interactive part and where my door is going to sit. You're going to hear that I'm carefully cutting it. Done. In addition, the little cut that I created is going to give me the placement. See, it's not even straight. See, I told you, even though I put the, it's okay. I think it's semi-straight. A little bit, it's okay. I'm not going to lie over it. Trust me. Hope. Okay, so I'm going to put this away. Let me just put this stuff here. I'm going to keep it just in case for now. I'm going to keep it for now, actually, because I'm going to, I don't think I need my die cutting machine again. I'm going to put it away. And even though I tried to have everything ready for today, I knew that I had to show you this live so you know how it gets built. So, okay, assume that it's straight-ish. And it's going to drive me insane if I don't make it straight, guys. I don't know how it moves so much. So I'm going to have to actually recut it, and that's okay. It's not going to, it's fine. Don't mind the hole there, okay? So, because I have to, otherwise it's going to drive me insane. I'm sure that some of you out there going now, thank God, because something called OCD, and I know that if I don't do it straight, it's not going to, I'm not going to be happy at the end. So let's use the ruler and let's double secure it. Have one here and one here, and let's pray that it doesn't move while I cut it. Okay, so once again, don't mind it checking on the table, and you heard my little plates fall down. See, that's what I said. I didn't want to do it ahead of time, so I don't shook the table, but I'm shaking it anyways. So I put it there. Again, it didn't move this time, so I think we're fine. Sorry about the shaking of the table, but there's no easy way to do this. I don't think we need this anymore. I have my small mini cutting machine, so it's okay. So now it's going to be nice and straight. And don't worry, the other one we're going to use for the back. There we go. Yes. So we have the pieces. Let's keep this clean and nice and organized here. So I'm going to go ahead Very OCD too. Yeah, you know what? There's some things that I'm gonna tell you, ish, but something like, especially a door, and because I'm gonna cover it with the same size door, it is gonna show if it's not straight. So even though I'm trying to like make it sound like it doesn't matter, like deep down inside, I was like cringing already, and I'm sure that some of you were too. So we're doing it properly. Yeah. So here we go. So remember, the door is gonna sit here, and where did I put the paper? See, my brain is already. It's okay for now. Oh, it's here. Okay, so don't mind, like I cut the door, so I'm going to see how it's cooked. So I'm gonna go up here. It's gonna be hidden by a photo, so it's okay. I'm giving myself some grace. It's not gonna show, okay? I might cover it with something else after. Well, it's gonna be pattern paper at the back when I do the next layout, so it doesn't really, like, I'm not stressing over it. But so you see, I'm leaving an empty space. That means that I need to put a door there. So what are we going to put here? You can put the journaling if you want to. I size it to put it there, but I don't want to. I actually want to put my cat nephews in there. Okay? So we're going to start like build it from scratch here. I'm going to use my cat nephew's picture. And this was the antisocial one. And he knows he's antisocial. You know? And this is the very sociable one that thinks he's a dog. And the one that happened to be sick when my sister went on her trip and my son was there. So the story of I'm going to document this. My son went for almost 3 weeks to my sister's house to take care of her cat while she was on vacation. And he worked remotely and went to the office from there. So this is where my little cat nephews are going to live. So I want the door there, okay, to cover it. So what I'm going to do right now, my cat nephews are in place. I'm literally going to do this, and I'm going to glue them in place, okay? Because it's already like, I don't want to chance it or move it. So we're going to get a ruler. Because again, like I said before, you do want it to be like a little bit of the straightish side. Some tape. And I'm using like really strong adhesive because I want to make sure that it stays nice and flat. So I think this is the way. So, and then his name is Chico, like I said, the antisocial one. And this is Rocky, the one that thinks he's a dog. Just to make sure that we're fine, I'm gonna go ahead and double check. You're gonna see a little bit of the white. It doesn't bug me. I usually print my pictures with a white edge, so it's fine. So I'm just trying to make sure that the papers line up. Remember how I had to do a little bit of TLC because I screwed up on the door. So, okay. There we go. Press now. They're in place. Once they're in place, then I press and make sure they stuck. Like I said, don't mind that. I might cover another piece of paper, but when I do the layout, like the next layer on the back of this, I usually put pattern paper here so it will cover. But for now, it will do. So I have that part. As you can tell, that's what you're gonna see through the door. Yeah. So my door is gonna go here. Now I need to build it so that it hinges and it opens up. Okay. So when you get your, I'm gonna set this to the side because we don't need it. I might need one of this though. When you get your door, I'm going to show you what the die looks like inside if you haven't picked this up. This is the new set. This is the Creative Cuts All City Doors Layer and Dice It. And it gives you the option of making these 3 doors. You can build them any way you want to. This is an example, but you can, there's a lot of options for these. So when you build this door, it actually comes with like, I'm going to say the backing, so it helps you build it. Okay, very easy to use. So I'm going to use this as kind of my guide to create what's going to be the door. So like you see, I would have probably, in other cases, I would have built it on top of this piece of white cardstock because that's what this creates. Think of it as like the base for the door. Instead of using that, I'm going to use vellum. And the reason I'm using vellum It's because it is see-through. So when I build my door, you're gonna be able to see that there's something underneath it. Okay? So you'll be able to see that there's something underneath it without giving you away everything. So I was thinking about using acetate. I thought about it and I was like, you know what? No, because you can see through it. So instead I'm gonna use vellum. It is still translucent, but it still has a little bit of opacity that you can see what's behind it, but you won't be able to see the whole thing. So the key here is that if I go ahead and cut it like this, it's going to cut the rectangle. I have to make sure that it cuts the shape on the right and leaves quite a bit on the left. So instead of doing the regular, let's use the die cut, I'm going to use the negative piece that I created by accident from one of the doors to create the base. So I don't need this no more. So I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to use just my guillotine foot. So let's just measure it. I work better with measurements. So the door is around 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I am going to say, where did I put my guillotine? Oh, here. It's on the side here. So 3 3/4, and I just have, like, this is heavy vellum. So 3 3/4, I'm going to keep that. This is garbage now. Remember, like I said, this one is around 1 3/4. I'm going to go around 2.5 or so. Let's make it 2 3/4. So give it around an inch extra. Okay. Move the stuff to the side here so we don't see it. So here's where my door is at. I have all this really leftover or extra on the side here, which is going to help me build the hinge. Okay. So now that I have that and you getting the idea what it's going to look like, I am not gluing everything until we have all the pieces together. So just so you have an idea, this is going to be here. And now we're going to go ahead and build our door. Of course, we got to find a way to actually make sure that this fits in here. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that it hides. And we're going to make the door chunky enough so that it stays half open so you know that there's something behind it. Okay, so we're getting the idea now. So let's go ahead and build the door. So I have all my pieces here ready. I've cut it, like I said before, I cut 2 doors. I cut one, just in case you missed it, from Misty Morning, and that's the one that's going to go in the inside. And the outside is going to be Iceberg. And I'm going to tell you why I have 2 sides, because you're going to open the door. So when you put things, you're going to hide the back of it. You want to make sure that you don't show that part. So let's start with the front. And that's the one that I'm using Iceberg for. And I have my little tool here because this makes it so much easier to just, and I have all the pieces here. So what I've done to my cardstock before I cut it is I added double-sided adhesive paper. So it's literally right now, it's just a peel and stick sticker. Yeah, so you see, this is kind of make sure that it goes at the edge. Once it's there, we're gonna put pressure. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. So I have the front of my door. Okay. Remember, like I said, you're going to see the back of it. So what I have done is I cut the back door. Because remember, I want to make sure that you see. You're gonna, you don't want to see that when you open the door. Maybe, somebody's like, I'm like, no, it's not. You want to make sure, like, you want to make sure that it's like nice and on both sides. So I'm using the same die cut, and I'm just going to cover the back so it has nice and smooth, and there's like, it looks like truly a door. Okay, so you see, my door is good to go. So I've created my door. Just so you see it, how we get into it. So now that you see the pieces, you see through it. Not fully. We are going to build the pieces here, okay? There we go. So now I have my little pieces here. You're going to see I have all my little pieces here cut out. So I just gotta be careful. This is going to get, I cut 2 of them because I want to give it a little bit of like an extra oomph. So I cut 2 pieces, and just this is the negative piece from the center of the door, and that's what fits here properly. So I went and cut it twice, just this one though. So cutting like I said, and then for the back, of course I thought about adding my Lancer journal here, but then I was like, and I could leave it like that too if I want to, but I think I want to go like that. I just want to have that part visible at the top. So like I said, there's a lot of options. Don't think that you can only build it with cardstock. You can use like a lot of other ways to make, your door nice and beautiful, even in your cards or any other project. So I have my door, the main frame. Now we're going to shush this part. So you're going to see that I've cut everything here. I have it in place here. So I'm going to cut it so you see what it looks like. So I'm going to go into the detailing. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call the waistcoat in. I don't know what you call the detail of the doors. So again, I have used double adhesive paper. So it's just peel and stick. Just be careful with this part because they're like really fine frames. So I found it that it is easier to just do this. I'm going to peel the edge. I'm going to sit it here. I'm going to try to make sure that it's nice and straight. Actually, you know what? Let's just pull it out. So just be careful because like I said, these are really fine. Think of it like really fine frame. It's really what it is. A super fine frame, but working with double adhesive paper makes it so much easier than actually, because of course, when I did it for my sample, I actually used glue. I had glue everywhere. And then after I was like, I should have added, when after you think I should have, could have, would have, but you didn't. Well, that was me. So for this, I was just like, pull out the paper. So it goes right here, right around this little edge here. And that's what I said. I went and cut it twice. So it gives me a little bit of extra definition. I don't know. I just like things that have texture. So I'm going to show you closely. See how it creates that edge in that frame? Okay, and then it comes with these little 3 inserts. So I gotta be careful because like I said, super, see? They pull like that, which is so fun. I could actually do this too if I wanted it to. So instead, I'm just gonna grab it here, put it there, kind of center it, and then go. Push on the ends. Okay, and lightly like hold it in one, hoping they actually came off. They did. See? There you go. And honestly, I don't mind if they're a little bit to the left because I'm gonna put the what do you call it? The door opener here, so it's gonna kind of size it, so it's fine. It doesn't bug me. And I did the same for the little top parts of this. And you see, I have this. Again, just be very careful with this. The advantage of the little frames for the little windows is that they don't come in separate little pieces. They come in one single piece with 3 divisions. So it makes it a little bit easier instead of having those little squares. Because I know you're probably thinking, don't tell me you have little squares. No, I don't. You're probably freaking out going, I'm not going to do it. No, it's not. It's simple. It's just you have to be the word's not careful. It's just you got to be a little bit on they're very fine. So that's the only thing. So this is not coming up. I might have to go with something a little bit thinner. Okay, there we go. See? So this fits right at once, and then I'm just going to go at it. I have a little piece here. Okay, so it just gives a little bit of extra definition. So I'm gonna just continue. Once we do that, then we're gonna flip to the other side. The other side is not gonna have that much detail because it's the back of it. But I do, like I said before, whenever you create a project, maybe I don't think it's just me though, but like especially when you do an interactive part, many times, sometimes you glue things on top of each other, or like things show a little bit of the glue on the back. it's always nice to have like a nice clean background. So in this case, what I did is, like I said, I cut a second door. I make sure that, like, it matched completely. So it covers all my tape and all the, like, untidy pieces. Which is almost finished. Like I said, this is the part that was going to take the longest. Well, supposedly. So here we go. See, my door is built. Now we're going to go on the back. But before we do that, I'm just going to cut them in here because I don't want to lose them. And I'll deal with that after. Oh, we're going to deal with the door too. Wait. So what I cut, the little, what do you call it? Handles? The locks? I don't know what you call them. So again, English is my second language too. So in case you haven't realized it, I cut the locks out of Dark Night for the base and Morning Frost for the little handle. So I have it here. I'm going to show it to you. Like I said, everything is here, just in little pieces. So let me just find the one. Here we go. This is going to sit right here. And that's what I said. I don't mind it that this piece is probably a little bit to the left. It doesn't really, and if it bugs you, you can go ahead and change it. And the way that the door shows, it actually sits here. I don't want it to sit here. I want it to sit on this side. Because remember, I want the door to open to this side. So I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. I cut this like 3 times. So I'm going to go 1. You're going to see, I'm going to put it there. 1. I'm going to take another one. Let me just find it. I know I cut it a few times. There we go. I have another one here. Okay, so I'm going to do twice just to make sure that it like kind of pops a little bit of the door. Okay. And then the little handle is like this tiny little piece. And I cut it out of the, what's the name of the paper? Morning Frost, because I want it to be silver. And I know it's here somewhere. So just, here we go. See? It's like a tiny little piece. I think I even peeled it already. But just to be safe, because I don't know if I peeled the sticker or not, I'm just going to give it a little bit of glue. Okay? Just to be safe. Okay. So I'm going to take this and just add it there. Push it. So I have my door at the front. We go. Then I go to the back. I cut the back out of the Morning Frost one. It's gonna be right here. And I'm just gonna do it one. Like I said, I just want it tidy. And I'm just gonna put it, I think around the same edge. So it's right here. So there we go. Okay. So you see my little door? It's ready. So I'm not gonna need this. I'm gonna set it to the side for now. What we are going to get right now is a scoring board, and I have my Altenew one here. Yeah. Just remember, we're gonna create a hinge. We need to make sure that this creates a hinge. Okay. So with this, let's give it a little bit of a space. There we go. Yeah, I'm not completely straight for some reason. Okay, people are probably going, what is she doing? For some reason, I'm not. I'm so afraid of putting a lot of pressure right now that I might, my folder. And here we're gonna take it. Literally going to fold it. Even though I created the little hinge, it's easier for me to do it this way. Okay. So I have my little door, and you're gonna see that there's a little bit of the vellum showing. That's okay, because of like you have all those pieces of cardstock on the back, it is not gonna sit flush. And that's okay, because you wanted to make sure that the door doesn't sit like, completely closed, because it doesn't look like you can open it. So that's why it's not gonna sit completely flush against the edge. And if that bugs you, then just don't do the back, but it looks nicer. So now here's like, the key. Let me put this away because we're not gonna need it anymore. No, I'm cleaning as I go because the craft mat, the aftermath, it can be like, scary. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut little notches here. Okay. So I'm gonna leave around 1/8 and then I'm gonna go boop. I'll run up 1/8. Okay. So my door is ready. So now remember how we had the two pieces? Even though I folded, probably folded the wrong way, but that's okay. This is going to sit right there. It goes flush. And of course I folded the wrong way, but that's okay. Okay. So you see what it looks like. There you go. See? That's what I say. You want to make sure, like, your vellum is not all the way through. Just a little bit, like there's like 1/3, 1/16 or so. There's a little bit of a space, so you can do this. You can open and close. Okay. So now that I know how it sits, I'm gonna take this, take the back. You don't need the back here. You're gonna need a lot of a strong adhesive. Okay. Hold it there. There we go. Yeah. Press, press, press. And you're gonna add more after. Okay, but see, your door is ready. So, and you're gonna see it doesn't sit like it's a little bit off top of the paper. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just going to, because I already messed up, I skipped a step as always. I'm just gonna take it out for now. Please don't rip the paper. Because I just realized that I have to do the stenciling, but you see what it looks like. So I have like the paper here from the double-sided paper. It's gonna go there. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna go into stencil this because a door doesn't just sit on a white or like on a white what do you call it, wall. If that's perfect, but I want to actually build the idea because if I just put the door here, it just looks like a door on white cardstock. So I need to add something that kind of gives me the idea of a wall. So I'm gonna pull out right now my sticky mat. This is the 9x12 sticky mat. Okay, so let me just make sure that I have it here. Remember, this is the one that, make sure this is the straight one. Yes, put it here. And we're gonna use the Craft Your Life project kit, floral art, flower art. If you look at the stencil, sorry, there is this wall here, which is the one that I actually use for my layout. I'm actually going to use. What I like about this is it actually has a door already built into it, kind of a little step, which is what you need to sell the idea of a wall. So the only thing you have to be careful is that I don't want that create the arch here. Okay, so just we're gonna give ourselves some grace. What I also want to do is I want to make sure that I don't have this little like arch. This is not a continuous brick, so that means that the brick is not like follows all the way and it looks pretty and it has a nice and structure. It's actually kind of broken down. So it's not like I can say I'm gonna move this stencil to the right and then it's a continuation. No, it doesn't work like that. It actually has a little bit of I'm gonna say kind of a break in it. So the best way to help you with that is I'm just reaching for some ink. I don't know what color ink. This is the product. So what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of fade the color. So I'm gonna use probably a little bit of green. Like I said, I want to keep it kind of on the masculine side. I have pistachio here. And I'm gonna pull one of my ink blending brushes. I'm gonna get a small one for this. Let me get one here. I don't know what. I'll have it here. I'll show you what I have. And I just got this from, I don't know where, Amazon, I think. with my brushes. So I'm going to go with a little bit of pistachio, and I'm just going to go from the bottom up. Okay, you know what? I take a little bigger brush. And it was going to take us a long time for this. So let me get here. This is a. So here we go. Yeah, this is going to be better. You don't want a lot of color. Like, it's completely up to you. I don't want a lot, and I'm gonna fade it as it goes higher and to the left. So I'm gonna put a lot of elbow grease towards the bottom of this, the bottom of the page. But you're gonna see as it goes higher, I'm going to add less of pressure, especially because I don't want to get, well, I might get that part, but not the arch. And we're gonna give ourselves grace as we're gonna move this. Remember, like I said, it's not like straight lines. These are broken lines, which is a good thing because it helps you camouflage the fact that it's not gonna match completely. So here it just, like I said, you don't want to get the arch. So it's just kind of like, be careful. Add a little bit more color back here. Kind of start fading as we go higher. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of move it a little bit higher here. Kind of play with this a little bit. So, see, this is pretty much what I did for my project. Play with the idea of creating this wall. And I'm not gonna add a lot of color because I don't want you to see like the difference in the bricks. So I'm just going to start fading the color. So I'm gonna not add that much pressure as I go high. And I'm not gonna cover the entire page, just enough so I sell the idea that the door has something to anchor to. Okay. And I'm just using pistachio. I just want the shade of the wall behind it. Yeah, so you're gonna see. Okay. I'm gonna move it a little bit to the side here because let's see, this way maybe. Again, itching it. Remember, not perfect. So just be mindful of that. I do hope, and we had a chat, and I said, can we get like a stencil that gives us like a complete wall? So you might see it. And then we need to stretch it this way. So we're gonna just move it. Again, just, give it the idea that, again, what you're gonna do is just go softly with your brush. So there's only a shadow that looks like the brick kind of fades into the background, okay? See, it's like kind of hits to, and I'm gonna do the same up here. Just kind of like a little bit over here too. Okay, I am not putting this away yet. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, let's put the door so you see it. Okay, so now it actually looks like a door that belongs in a wall, not just, a random door on white cardstock. So that's why we're getting this. So, but we're gonna continue the look of this wall onto the 3x4 card. Okay, so I'm gonna move this to the side. And remember, I have my card here. This is where the journaling is gonna go. It's gonna make sure that it's 3x4. I think it's a little bit wider than 3. Yep. So we're gonna trim it. Make it 3. Okay. We're gonna put it. Let me move this out of the way because I don't need it. Let's go to the side. So on this part here, just remember, we're bringing the wall from the right to the left. Get here. Just again, a little bit of color just to make sure that we're selling the idea that we're dragging, that this is part of the house. But we're gonna fade it. So make it heavier at the bottom and kind of fade it towards the top. And you don't want to cover the entire thing, just enough to create kind of a border, okay? just on the right of this. I think that's all I need. Perfect, that's all I need. Okay, there we go. So here we go. Trying to, and we'll clean this after when this is all finished. So let's see again. Wait, move it to the side. Now that we have this, so just so you see it, this is what we've done. So I have my journaling piece there. I have this part here. Remember how I put tape ahead of time, all excited that I was ready to do it and I wasn't? So now we're just going to put the door, and you're going to tell me if it actually looks like a door that belongs here. See? Make sure it's like when you put it, you can open and close it. So that's what I say. You have to give it a little bit extra vellum. So you're not gonna like do the full right flush against the cardstock. Maybe give it a little bit because you gotta make sure that you can do that. And now we're gonna glue it to the back piece. Okay, this was the most complicated part of this spread. And now you have this. You can see through that there's something underneath there. Okay, you can see that. You can see that there's something, but because it's gonna make you nosy, you're gonna be able to open it, and that's what you want. And that's what I said. I chose to go with vellum instead of having acetate, because then you'll be able to see through it. And I consider building the whole thing out of acetate. I'm just making sure that my door, for some reason, is not clearing properly. So here we go. So now we're gonna glue it. Tape. Tape. The border. Don't mind the rip though. It's just, I went outside of the limit. That's okay. Tape. Tape. I'm gonna even go down here carefully. Don't have my hair. Okay. I'm just gonna line it up. Actually, the circles. Okay. It's not that I'm ignoring you or anything. I'm just making sure that it's nice and flat. There we go. Remember how I had the hole up there? So I'm just gonna go. And I have the leftover door. It's all good, guys. Like I said, this is gonna, when I do the layout behind it here, it'll be covered. But just so, there you go. Okay. So now you can see it. You can add a sentiment here if you want to. I might not. But you see, it doesn't completely close. So it is going to, when we build the whole thing, then you want to peek in here. So here's what we're going for. So you have an idea. So let's find the pocket for this. Remember how I went running to find the pocket? Because I forgot to bring it. I think it's a 3x4. Yeah, the vellum is the best choice. We still have to finish it. So we're almost there. But the main idea is here. Like you build your interactive, but now we're going to embellish. But we're going to set everything in place. Okay, I almost stood up again. Picture. That's my son, my baby when we left him there. This is going to, for the time being, it's going to stay outside. Okay. See, we have our two sides. We have the semblance of some wall, still very soft, because now we're going to embellish this. And we're going to use the Craft Your Life Project Kit Flower Arch. And I've already stamped the image with obsidian ink on white cardstock. And I do want to bring a little bit of color to this. And my idea is I want to create something that's going to cascade right there. I wanted to make it look as if it was an arch. So just you have the idea. Sometimes my brain works in funny ways and people ask me, how did you do it? See, when you do this, you kind of create like a long arch on this, like a long, like it's like running on the side of the page. So that's a good thing because then you know that I'm only going to need probably a little piece from down here. So I might just have to color one. So I want to create this that it runs through the 2 pages. So I stamped 2 of them, but I think I'm only going to use 1. Okay, but this is my idea. Gonna make sure that this runs into here. Okay, so I can leave it black and white, but I'm not. I'm actually going to bring a little bit of color. Like I said, I'm glad that I'm only going to use one. So I'm going to set that to the side. Let's get the sticky mat again. Okay, move this out of the way. I have the stencils here. And we're going to go with yellow. Even though I'm not a fan of yellow, if you've been to my live sessions before, you guys will know that not one of my favorite colors, but I think when we're talking about like, I was going to say a female, masculine layer, going with kind of the classic colors, green, blues, yellows is a good thing. So I pull out lemon ice, mild yellow, lemon stand, and amber and raw amber. So I'm going to go with, let me just see, I moved it up and I put it back. I'm not thinking that I'm going to need it. Where did I put it? Oh, here. It's in this. I'm not sure. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the stamp. Because the coloring guide is in the stamp. Actually, I'm not sure how many colors I need. I'm going to show you what I did. Because I was going to be lazy. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I have like one that I had created before. Yeah. So I need two colors. So we're going to do it. Let's go with the mild, with the lemon ice, and then we go from there. So let me get my lemon ice here. By the way, kind of greenish, and that's okay. And I'm not going for like a lot of what is the word? Perfection in this. I just want to add color. Remember, this is kind of just the embellishment, but it's not the focal point of the story. So, like, if I was creating a car or something that the story was going to be run through the flowers, then I probably put a lot of like details. But because this is just my embellishment and I want the focus to stay on the door and in the picture, I'm going to go lightly with my colors. Okay, that's why my wall is like really light. That's why you're going to see that I'm just going to color this. I'm not going to super detail it. And what I mean by that is other times I'll be like putting more pressure and like, adding the petals extra detail. I don't want to because then I want everything to like, if I do that, then the focus is going to be tossed to the flowers and there's nothing wrong with it. But then the other part becomes kind of a second, not the focal point. So you have to, when you create, and like in this case, because this is a larger scale than a card, you have to decide what is more important for you. The page, like as in the look of it, or is it the story? For me, it's actually the story. And I want the door to be like that kind of like the popping, the thing that pops, because I wanted to make sure that people open it and close it. So that's kind of like a little bit more important for me right now. So I have my other flower here. This actually colors really fast. So in case you're thinking, it looks daunting and it looks big, but it's actually pretty simple. I'm going to use mild yellow. I'm going to stay with the family for this. And I'm going to use the same brush. Here we go. Super simple. Okay, don't put this away. I'm going to get to the next stencil. Like I said, we have to do a cleanup of the stencils after the life is done. So remember, the beauty of the stencils is that they has the image kind of like, what is the word? Like in the background, so it's easy to, add it. I'm going to use the same color, mild yellow, to add accents, especially to the ones that I did before. And even though, like I said, it looks big and the stamping looks big, it's not complicated. It goes really fast. So it's like super simple. It gives you these beautiful flowers. You can use all the colors of the rainbow if that's your choice. Like I said, I'm staying with like more of like, have a lemon stand for this. With this one here, when I make it a little bit darker, not too much, just a little bit. Leaving lemon stand, and then I'm just going to go into the center here. Be careful. Just trying to match the little notching on the design there. There we go. Making sure it's nice and straight. There we go. So here I'm gonna add extra here. I'm gonna go lightly. This is lemon stand, so I'm using the 3 colors from this collection. I'm not gonna go with raw amber because it's gonna give me the like deeper yellow, which is I think what I'm gonna use for the centers of my flowers. There we go. See, nice and simple, nicely colored. I could leave them white too if I wanted it to, but I think they do need a little bit of color. So now we're gonna go with here. This one gives you the center. This one gives you the leaves, I believe. So this is number 4. Yes, just to remember here. So we're gonna choose the greens. I am not going to. Let me clean this up. I'm leaving raw amber handy. I'm gonna go with the next 3 colors and the Jade Dreams. After pistachio, you have misty green, mossy meadows, and green opal. So I'm gonna use those colors for the greens here. This handy. Pull my brush for that. Here we go. So Misty Sage is the first one. Gotta make sure that, and the leaves are like colored a little bit different than what. Let me just make sure that I color properly. This. I'm gonna go with this one, number 3. See, I was skipping a step, thinking, why am I not getting the full leaves? There we go. Okay, let me just center it properly. Okay, so we're gonna go with Misty Sage for this. And using a smaller brush here, and I'm adding a little bit of pressure because I do want to emphasize the green a little bit more. And you're gonna see that my centers here are a little bit, the centers of the flowers are getting a little bit of green. I'm okay with that for now. Okay, don't worry. Remember, I have the raw amber on the side here. I'm gonna go with that on top of it. So we're almost there. Just looking at the time. Oh, we're fine on time. So, because Lydia always says, Natalie, if you need more time, don't worry about don't worry about it. Usually we finish early, and I'm like, Lydia, I think I'm gonna need more time. And she laughs. I'm like, So I'm gonna use my bigger brush for this because I have bigger leaves and I want it to go a little bit faster. Like I said, I'm not going for like detailing. I'm going for coloring right now. So having the ink blending brush in this case is just going to help me bring the color to all the leaves. Remember, I don't want the flowers to be the focus of this. I want it to be kind of like, on the background. So as long as they have a little hint of color, I'm okay with that. Just be careful. There's some parts of the stencil that have like these really fine lines, so you can lift it up. So just be mindful of that, okay? Can't remember where this one is supposed to be. Remember how I said the centers I'm just gonna go back and do that before I forget because I almost did. And I'm gonna use the last color in the yellow set, which is raw amber, to bring more of the yellow. Even though I put some of the green underneath, that's okay. Not stressing over that. So I have raw amber here. Let's see. There you go. See, so there's subtle color of yellow, but not like, tons of it. So now we're just gonna add a little bit of detail. You could skip this part if you think it's like, too much. I'm gonna go lightly with this. So it does need a little bit of extra interest in here. So let's go with a little bit of, I'm gonna skip one and I'm gonna go to green opal. Just to do it all at once. Just gonna make sure that it's nice and flush with the image here. There we go. So here we go. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, but I am changing, like skipping one of the shades of the color. See, my phone is telling me that we're doing my watch, that we're doing great on time. So by skipping one shade of color and go like lightly, then I'm just creating that emphasis on the leaves without, or the detail without, like, going completely into detail mode. So there we go. And there's this little piece here that actually matches, if I can remember how it goes. Here. It colors the center here. So let me just make sure that it sits nice and flush. There we go. Let's go with green opal, extra pressure. Remember, some of these might not even make it to the page, but you have the interest there. So here we go. We're going to just put the stuff away, do a quick cleanup. Not even a cleanup, we're moving stuff to the side, so that didn't happen. And now we're going to finish this. We're gonna need to put a title. And like I said, I have my journaling. I was a good girl. I did the journaling ahead of time. All the stuff that has to clean up. Let's careful. Usually you first color and then die cut. I'm going like, the easy way for television. So I have my piece. Let's bring back my layout. Remember, like I said, so you want this little piece is going to sit. Let's just start with this one. My journaling is here. Let's cut my journaling. Why don't we do that? So you see how I work. When nobody's coming to me what I'm doing, this is how I work. My journaling. I print this on clear label paper. I have the entire sheets, so that I can do quite a bit at once. Usually I fill up the page, I do all my projects, and then I fill them up at once. So it's gonna sit right here. So it's gonna make sure that you see a little bit of this. Okay, so I already know that. Let's go with the journaling first. I know usually, like Lydia was saying, Natalie, we take like, you'll be okay with 45 minutes. I'm like, nope, give me an hour. So I'm going to eyeball it where I want it. We're almost there. Then I'm just going to play with this a bit. Remember, like I said, I know that this is going to be cut. I don't need it. I want it right there. Let's see. Right there. So glue. Glue. Remember this piece that I said I'm going to cut it? Get it and tuck it underneath here. Elongate you this side. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead and trim it. So get your, I was going to say X-Acto knife, but it's not. I'm using a guillotine, but a pair of scissors will suffice. Just try to get it all in one single piece. That's the only thing that I'm going to suggest. So I'm just trying to, scissors might have to do right now. Glue is gone. Here. So let's get 4 scissors. There we go. Let's cut this part here. Okay. So I have my journaling bits and I have this left over. Remember, like I said, think of it as like it's stretching like this. So now we're going to play with this part here and we're just going to go like this. Remember the part that, so we're going to glue it here. Don't worry about the perforations. We're going to deal with them in a bit. Okay, we're going to trim the excess. Be careful how you trim it, because you can use the negative pieces that you have left over after. Here. I'm going to be careful, and I'm just going to do this flower here. I'm going to leave that in there. Okay? So the leftover pieces, I like to do this sometimes. See, like I have this, thinking, why can I have like little flowers kind of coming there? As long as I hide that part that, like, that part that's hidden there, kind of stretch it a bit more. Add some tape here. Add some tape here. There we go. Okay, so what are we thinking? Okay, you don't need to add much more besides the title. I could if I wanted it to, and I probably would down here, but I don't want to overcrowd my page. I just want enough so that it kind of hugs onto this. It brings the two sides together. And for my titles, which is the only part that I didn't cut, we're gonna do it right now live. Where did I put it? Right here. I am using the Timeless Sentiment die set number 3, and I love this one that says do good. Because that's what he did. He, said I'll go take, I'll take care of your house. He didn't have to, but he worked. My sister lives quite far from us, and he works at downtown Toronto, which is pretty much polar opposite places of where my sister lives. So he's like, don't worry, go on vacation. I'll come take care of your house. And the cat happened, I just magically happened to be sick, that weekend too. So the weekend that he stayed there, so medicine had to happen and all those things. So yeah, and I also have here. This is Dazzling Diamond Glitter Cardstock. So we're gonna cut this all at once. Well, not at once. I have my cutting machine here. You see, we're gonna use, like I said, the entire hour today. Okay, I have my pages here. Got the back, and you do want to add the offset. Usually, I would say I don't use the offset, but here you want to because you have a lot of white on the background. So you want that little bit of that offset to make sure that the title pops, especially because the title is going to be white. So sorry about the shaking, but I'm like in real time. So I have here, let's just put it to the side, and this one here. And you see my little shim? I have the metal one, but I find that when I do that, it cuts through my, my bases. So this day I was playing with a project and I went and trying to find the perfect shims, the little to create my sandwich. And then I had that thank you card from the Alteneu boxes. So that was one. And I needed something a little bit deeper, and I'm going to show you what it is. So you guys are going to laugh. You know the cover of your tissue boxes? That's what it is. I'm sure you guys each one have a different kind. So take this, take them off. Perfect. See, not bad. For an hour, I did a little bit of work ahead of time, so I can say you can do it too, because it would be unfair to say that. I just have my perfect picker here, just to help me pull out, the words. Just be careful because around the O's, it tends to be really thin, so just be careful with that. We're almost done. Go. So we're gonna glue with this. And I know the sentiments are probably going, oh, where are you going? I love sentiments. I wish there was and I think I asked Tasnim if she can do words like for, because as a journaler, a lot of the sentiments that you have for a card maker are totally different. Like I would like an oops, or like you, or like hellos, and a little bit different. It's a different type of the different type of sentiments, or like routine, daily, things like that. So I have my title. Okay, let's go back to putting the layout together here. I want to put it here. Now I had that green piece that I didn't use. What if I were to stretch this? What if I just add it here a bit more? Or I can add I think my title has to go right here. Not too high, right here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and glue it. I had some tape here. Okay, so, see, it moved. Don't move. I like it there. Make sure that it's nice and straight, because with me, everything is possible. Put it right there. Use this line to make sure that it's nice and straight. There we go. I think you need something like a little bit of extra green. So that's why, like, this piece will actually come in handy right here. You see? No, right here. And it's okay if it goes underneath this. So glue is going to be my friend right now. And I'm going to tell you why. Not this, just this part here. Okay? I think you need something to frame the title without overtaking the page. Okay? So we're going to take this. I don't want to add anything to the bottom because if I add stuff to the bottom, then it's going to take away from, like, the door. See? Much better. Just a little bit. That is going to be inside of the door, so it prompts you to do this. I am going to add maybe like a little sticker here later on, but the bulk of it is done. So let's just put this stuff away. Okay, my little pocket. Show you where it goes in my album because I have it. If I don't look at my album, that is like, nothing has been documented. See, that's my sister in Italy on her vacation while my son was taking care of the cats. Oh, I forgot to punch the holes. So that's the story that'll probably go on the back of this here. Kind of tie the whole thing together. Have this here. And have my little here. I said, don't look at this. But there you go. See, so I have journaling, picture, story. Then you have my little cat nephews right there. And having this open like that, not flush, gives you the temptation to do this. Okay? So maybe, you know what? I think it needs this like a few enamel dots, maybe in the blue, just to bring it all to the two sides. But the fact that this one is actually blue, it brings the attention to this. See, everything else kind of remains the same. So your eyes are here and here. Yeah? See? So you open, like I said, a little sticker here, maybe. But there you go. So hope you enjoyed this. I actually had fun creating this. I had the idea in my mind. I was hoping and praying that it was gonna work as sometimes you think of something and you cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross your arms and legs, thinking, let's hope it comes out like you think it, and it actually did. Love how this turned out. And like I said, we use, the new release for this. So I'm gonna flip the camera and then we're gonna talk about it. And yes, it's not difficult. And like I said, don't look at this because the pictures at the bottom, this covering. It just makes me feel like I haven't documented, and it's not that I haven't, I've been busy and sick. So there we go. So let's flip the camera to say our goodbyes. There we go. And I'm also So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that gives you some inspiration for your projects. It gives you an idea what to create. The Creative Cuts All City Doors is actually a very fun um, die that you can use for a lot of the things, not just cards. And imagine what you can do tags, make it an interactive. Like I show you today, it's not difficult. I'm going to give you, as always, if you have any questions, let me know. I would love to help you, especially about this, because I know maybe some of you might want to ask me something. Just contact me, directly. And I think that I'm going to see you actually next week. I'll be back next week, and we're going to keep working with my journaling, but we're going to be working with, again, I'm going to give you a hint. So if you have your wax seals, bring them out because we're going to work with that next week. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. And I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Take care, guys. Now, let me just remember how to close this. Take care, guys.